All right, then let's call the meeting of February 25th, 2021 to order. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Here.
Council members Achara.
Here.
Conlon.
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Here. The notice requirement for the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting has been satisfied. A copy of the annual notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press Coaster, posted in Town Hall, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk December 30, 2020. We have some items for discussion on our D. Do we have anybody here with us, Vin, yet, or guest?
Doesn't appear
D1.
D1 that anybody's here from JCP.
Okay, you want to go to D2?
Sure.
Okay, so who's here to discuss? We get the budget renovation update. That's you, Tom?
Yes, sir. I'm working with Steve. Well, let me back up. We're in a process of securing a grant to do all of the high vac and the lighting over at 1515 Logan and also 1001 Wickapeco. I'm hoping to have the okay on the grant probably no later than the end of April. We're working on it expeditiously to try to get this done so we can get these things done. We figure it's going to cost around $700,000, and our cost of that would be roughly 20% of that. So 80% is free money we're getting to put this in. It's also going to be put in. Hutchinson is the company that is front running the grant with the state. So we're hoping once they get the money that they're going to expedite it and get it in there before the fall comes. So we're trying to get it so we can open 1515 Logan up by right after Labor Day, if possible.
And that, Tom, that's for what we discussed as far as the, sorry, brain freeze. The, what are we opening Logan for?
LED lighting, and that's for
No. Oh, no.
Project Extend.
Thank you, Project Extend.
Yes.
So I know I asked for it previously. Can we see a finalized budget with all the numbers that Mike provided as far as the revenue, what numbers they're looking at, projections of students? Because, talking to a lot of people, and I know it came up at the last meeting. Have we talked to the school about this from the logistics standpoint, as far as busing and how that's all going to work?
Supposedly Mike worked it all out with the school, even to the point where if we can't get it open by September, they would take us on through the following summer of 2022.
So the school, just for the record, so the school is good with the logistics as far as busing kids back and forth from school to Project Extend? Because
I'm pretty sure they are. They know what's coming. So I will follow it up with Mike and get back to everybody just to make sure.
Okay. And the reason I ask is twofold. One, great that if they're on board, super. I think it's a great plan. The challenge has always been with the buses that there's only a limited number of buses and they're all in use all day long. So there's not a spare bus to take somebody from Wayside to Logan and back anytime during the day. So right. I just, if they can make it work, fantastic.
Yeah, I'll get back to you with his budget and that too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. Anything else on that, Tom?
We're also sitting down with Greg's getting me the final numbers on construction of all that. So once I get those numbers, I'll bring it to everybody's attention of what we're looking at as far as construction numbers other than utilities. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else on that before we go on to the next item? D3, what do you got, Tom?
D3 contract award procedure.
Yes.
So last meeting we discussed the, I think everybody seemed to be, so I don't want to put any words in anybody's mouth, seemed to be in agreement that we would go out to bid for every 3 years for professional services contracts. I asked Vin where we were on that, and he just wanted to throw it on the agenda to get confirmation so that we can put the resolution / ordinance together to make that happen.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah, are we good? Can they start working it?
Yeah, no problem with it.
I mean, it would be a resolution, so we would put it on. I mean, it would be something that, you know, again, it's up to you guys as we go into each year as to what professional services you want to get an RFP. And as we've talked about, just by soliciting the RFPs doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get better prices or you're going to select the people with the lowest prices. I mean, so just so everybody's aware of that.
So Vin, just a housekeeping note on that. I know you and I had this conversation, ordinance versus resolution. So you just made a comment that we'd have the choice as to which one went out to bid. I'm suggesting that we shouldn't have a choice, that every 3 years it should come up so that there's no ambiguity. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If it's a professional services contract, it should come up every 3 years. So that's why I thought ordinance would be the right way. But if you're saying it's a resolution, but I don't want to have it every year that we have to pass a different resolution to continue to do it.
Marty, what's your take on that? I mean, again, governing bodies change and we can't pigeonhole governing bodies in the future for doing what we may want to do today. So that's the only reason why I say a resolution. And it could be one that if each year the governing body decides they want to continue that process, then every year in January, we just pass the similar resolution like we do with many of our items.
Okay. All right. I see where you're going.
I would agree with Vinny on that.
Yeah, I'm good with that way then. Okay, I got you.
So typically, professional services are something that we haven't bid out
Correct.
because those are the ones that are exempt from the bidding. You're allowed to use, like, for example, we have our master plan coming up, right? And we can use our planner now based on whatever fee he he says it's going to be. We can get a price from him. If we like it, we can go with that rather than go through the laborious process of putting that out to bid and getting somebody who undercut them by $5,000 that knows nothing about the town.
Well, and again, to Vinny's point, no, I agree with that. And frankly, I'm on my stump here saying professional services should be bid every 3 years regardless. Having said that, I don't know that this is, in that example, Chris, I don't know that that is it is a professional services contract, but it's not coming up for renewal. It is a separate, specific project. Right. So, and I agree with you 1,000%. If we went out to bid, it would take 5 years to get a planner up to speed to do a renewal on the master plan. I agree with that. Jim is the right guy for that. I don't know, 45 is the right number, but that's fine. But on everything else, to Vinny's point, it's not necessarily the lowest bidder. It's the most, and I don't know what.
No, right. We got to remember that, because
right.
If it's somebody who's just unfamiliar with what we're asking them, the tasks we're giving them, being cheap is expensive.
Don't disagree with that. But and we discussed this previously, taking them, quote unquote, keeping them honest will probably benefit the town.
That's fine. If for that reason, I'm for it for that reason.
Right.
Just to kind of put a little heat on, you got a little competition here. But.
Right.
All right. So we're all good with that resolution, the professional services, even though we've never done them. And maybe that'll help keep us in check there. I'm good with that. When we go through, well, Laura, while you're here, you want to talk about your dog park? Is that why you're here?
I do, real quick. I know that we're having trouble with location.
I think I found one.
Well, here's something that I'm still really want you guys to look at and consider.
Okay.
I keep talking about that property behind Overbrook. And I know you keep telling me it's Blue Acres. But Blue Acres, I have it on my phone. It says the land will be permanently preserved as open space accessible to the public for recreation or conservation.
Mhm.
Dog parks recreation.
Yeah, but I think that's a horrible spot.
Why?
Where
Have
are they
you
gonna
been
park?
back there?
All the time. I was back there shoveling snow the other day. See, that's Poplar Village is what
I-
you're talking about.
Behind it, where the big
Right, but
gazebo.
there's no place really to park there. Now you got these old people and you're gonna stress them out with the action and activity of dog parks and, these people running around and
Aren't we set?
that's
aren't
that's my
we set
opinion.
off- I know, but aren't we set off far enough back that
No, but
if-
they're gonna have to go through, there's no way not to go through their property, so to speak. In other words, their property, these folks have their doorways and windows facing that area of the street, and they're gonna see people converging on that property with their dogs. Some may love it because
Right.
it's therapeutic, and others may not, because there's a lot of Gladys Kravitz still out there. And
yeah,
so, I'm just saying, something that's more innocuous, less intrusive, to me was the Shore Gas and Oil property. It's
Right.
5 acres. It's on Poplar Road. It's almost clear already. Need
Okay.
a little bit of site work there. And I
okay,
think it has its own little dirt driveway. And I thought that was a good spot to explore. I gave that to Greg Blash to look at. He loved it.
okay, all right.
You know where I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do.
The old Shore Gas and Oil site.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a better spot.
okay,
That's my opinion.
all right.
Well, yeah, why don't we look at that and see how we can get that? If for some reason we come up with a hiccup there, then, we have other sites we can talk about again. There's a couple of spots, just you want to get one that's the least intrusive.
Yeah, where we're
It's
gonna have no
nothing.
complaints.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Gotcha, for sure.
The less my phone rings and everybody else's, the better.
I hear ya.
I just have one question, and it's how many on here understood the Gladys Kravitz line?
Oh, here we go.
I did.
Okay, just checking.
Everybody over a certain age.
I'm too
Yes, that's what it is an age test, I think, in part. But Dave's a young guy.
I'll Google it now.
I'm a Renaissance guy.
Oh, what are you
wish.
saying?
Rob, you know exactly what it is.
Do I? If I do, I'm glad it's.
You're my age.
Bewitched. Remember,
You
she's
ever
a
heard
soap
of
didn't look
Gladys
out the window.
The nosy neighbor.
Oh, got it.
Come
I
on,
see what
Rob.
it now. Okay, I'm
What
with you.
Samantha and them were doing, if they're up there
I
in
got it.
witchcraft.
All right.
Right.
Didn't recognize the name, but I am of age.
All right, well, if anybody needs my help, needs me, wants to meet, y'all have my cell number.
Bring your rake. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, and Chris, thank you for shoveling out my mother behind the post office. The church,
Oh, those, I supervised those.
the church group was amazing.
Oh, my God.
They were
and it only-
amazing.
It cost Johnny 4 pizzas.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Chris
Okay.
doesn't shovel his own driveway. You think he's going over there?
I helped Poplar Village. I did.
But I bet
went
you
to
had the
Poplar
pizza, right,
Village.
John?
All
Hey,
right.
right?
I bet you ate the pizza, though.
He probably did.
Okay, make fun of me. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, guys. I'll leave,
All right.
let you get on with your
I would have
business.
sent him
Bye,
over
Laura.
a clam pie.
Bye.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Happy
Laura.
birthday, Laura.
All right, so let's go through the agenda there. Ben,
I mean, I think, hey, Chris, if it's okay with everybody, I think what Tom and I had talked about, rather than literally reading off the agenda,
yeah,
each item,
we
I
don't
mean,
have to do
everybody
that.
has it. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to look at it.
Yeah,
Is there any questions? I mean,
yeah, that's fine. We don't have to go through each one now. We're gonna do it anyway.
yeah. I mean, it seems pretty basic. I mean, the two that I guess Marty can maybe talk about is 21040, the 2 deed restrictions that we're removing.
Yeah, very, very briefly, these are 2 deed restrictions that were set at different times, one by the Board of Adjustment, one by the Planning Board. The Saxony Drive one, oh, look at that.
Turn your phones off, everybody.
No, let's, I gotta figure out how to, what do you call it? The Saxony Drive one is, I'm trying to cancel this thing. The Saxony Drive one is a subdivision where we subdivided the two lots, but basically they couldn't sell them separately without removing on one of the lots, it was just accessory uses. It was a tennis court. So they had to remove the tennis court and they had to put up a retaining wall. So now they are removing the tennis court, putting up the retaining wall. And so they want us to remove the restriction that's in the deed, which we should agree to do, subject to them getting the work and finalizing the work, which we will hold off providing the deed until they do that, but giving Chris the authority to sign the deed. The other item is involving a property on Allen Avenue, which had been a furniture store and had all these restrictions. Sometimes years later, they granted another approval. It's no longer a furniture store, but they never removed the restrictions that were specifically related to it being a furniture store. So the idea is the Board of Adjustments already entered a resolution agreeing that the restriction should be removed and advising the council that they would, agree that the restriction should be removed. So those are what those two things are.
Hey, go ahead.
Can you explain that ordinance 2352, the salary fixation compensation thing?
That's for you, Dave.
What that is.
But I saw it. Thought the same thing.
Yeah, what that is just, I guess, salary adjustments to both the municipal court judge and the prosecutor. I guess they were in the works towards the end of last year, and just with everything going on, it kind of slipped through the cracks. So we were kind of just playing catch up with that.
Yeah.
We gave them a little bump.
We did.
Yeah, they were getting nothing
Yeah.
for what they do.
Then back to professional services. So and I don't remember if it was that a late arrival on the USI consulting group, or did I miss it the first time?
I'm sorry, say it again, Rob.
So the 21046.
Yep.
Was that a late ad? Because I
Yeah.
might have missed it, but
Yeah, no, it got added about 4 o'clock today.
okay. My standard question, did we go out to bid for that?
My guess is probably not, since it's a professional service. This was one that's, I guess Steve came to us. I don't know whether the auditors had said something about engaging. Tom, do you know anything about?
Which one is this?
This is the last one, the professional services with USI Consulting.
Actuary services.
Yeah. To comply with GASB 75.
Yeah, it's something they had to do for the audit. So they had to get it done. So this is, I think it's $7,000 a year.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's just something that we needed to do for the audit. So this way we're done. There won't be an audit comment on it.
You know what? Rob, let's talk about this. Right now, we don't go out for bid on professional services. We do on other things, but there's a threshold. Why don't we create a threshold so we don't get bogged down with a $7,000 bid? Does that make sense? Anybody?
In this case, I would agree, Chris. I've never.
I don't care what the number is, but let's make it something.
Yeah, we can have that conversation. I don't.
So
What is the current threshold?
Well, here it is. It's 17.5 unless you are a PA, purchasing agent, and it's 40.
UPA, yeah.
Yeah.
So we got your PA, UPA, it's 40.
And we do have a QPA on retainer.
Right.
So we do go by the higher amount.
Would like to get that in-house though. Eventually somebody else.
Hopefully somebody will have it.
We're working on it.
Okay.
New town
But-
manager.
So anyway, there's the parameters, Rob. You're 17.5 to 40. You want to make it somewhere in between there because it's professional services. I don't care. I just think we should have a threshold so it's not nickel and dimes. You follow me?
Yeah, I open to a we don't have to have it now. I mean, I don't know. I don't want a whole report of saying, hey, these are, the 40 contracts that we have and here's the average annual spend. Maybe we do that, but I
One
don't
of
know.
these most of them exceed 30 or 40 grand anyway.
Which is what I'm thinking. So that might be the number.
Maybe go right to make it just like you do with the
Right.
QPA.
Right.
Follow those guidelines. I'd be okay with that too.
Same here. I off the cuff, I would say I am too.
Okay.
Then unless, listen, I would ask Tom and Vin, if you can possibly look at it. I mean, I tend to agree with Chris that the majority are probably above that number. But if we find that, I'm making a number up, 25 to 30% are still below it, then let's come back and have a conversation.
What I'll do is, Tom, if it's all right with you, I'll put a list together on what our professionals are and how much we've spent over the last maybe 2 to 3 years. And it'll be a good discussion then.
That's perfect. But I agree.
Yeah, that'd be great, Vinny. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm good with that, Chris.
Okay.
But back on this one, not to beat a dead horse. Did we look at anybody else? Tom, I get why we're doing it, but, and I don't know, did the accountants, auditors recommend these guys? How do we come up with it?
Probably
But
Gallup.
we came up with it because our CFO knows these people, and it was the easiest fix to something that we needed to take care of. And for
Gotcha.
$7,000, you know, it's just easier to hire this group and let them take care of it. And we can look at it next year. But for $7,000, we're going to get what we want because the auditors know this company also.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Before we go into close, any council members have anything else that we're working on you want to bring up?
So we
Robbie?
got it. Oh, go ahead.
You
Sorry.
want to bring up that hold on one second. Green Grove Road?
Yeah. So did I shoot everybody that email or was that just you, Tom?
I don't know, to tell you the truth.
I think
Oh, yeah, I saw it about Amazon.
Yeah. So ironically, after Dave posts his thing on Amazon for Ocean, I get a call for somebody on Green Grove saying, hey, you know, no weight limit there. And listen, I don't live over there, but I can imagine what kind of he says there's a cut through right now to get from 66 to wherever they're going on the other side, as opposed to going around to 35. It makes sense. It's worth a conversation. I'm not torn one way or the other, but where you guys live over there than I do.
The only thing I would recommend is they haven't even started doing anything yet, and to get a complaint before something's even happened is like putting the cart before the horse.
Well, this person has complained previously about the traffic on that road. He happens to be in front of, or his house is where there is a dip in the road and a manhole that Mike was working with the Tinton Falls town manager to get resolved. And unfortunately, it's on the line between us and Tinton Falls, and nobody wants to fix it. So he hears those trucks all the time. So this is not something new for him to be concerned about, but he is concerned. And I hear you, Tom, it hasn't happened yet, but this would exacerbate the already loud noise that he hears when trucks fly by his house.
So they want a weight limit. The only thing you got to remember with weight limits are they don't preclude those. I mean, you're still going to have a 53-foot truck when somebody's moving, for example. I mean, you know, you need these big trucks. Typically, I don't know what Tinton Falls is putting in there. What we're having, our distribution center, or the center that we have is going to be the final destination for the package, fulfillment center.
Right.
So they go out in those small vans to the homes.
Right.
I don't know what I know that's a fulfillment or distribution. There's a difference.
I heard distribution and 18-wheel.
Right, then they'll have the big trucks.
Yeah. Again, do we have to do this tomorrow? Probably not, to Tom's point, but I certainly would love to have.
You can do a joint letter with Tinton Falls requesting them to put a weight limit on the road. You know what I mean, Tom?
Yeah, we'd have to go back to DOT to get that anyway. We wouldn't just do it ourselves. So,
right. So you can do something like that.
I'll send them a letter. I'll put it together and run it by everybody, and then we'll send it off and see what happens. How's that?
Yeah, see what they come back at.
The people that are going to really be beat are the people that live on the road where the fulfillment center is going to be. That Jumping Brook Road there, that awful windy road that was never paved when we were kids.
Yeah, well, that's Neptune.
Yeah,
That's Neptune's problem.
and I
Right.
think Clinton Falls might have some of that too. That's not ocean, but they're gonna be in a world of hurt over there.
Yeah, it's none of us.
Yeah. I got one more, Mayor.
Yep,
We all got an email on Snell's Pond.
yep.
I don't know if anybody's gonna come up tonight at the meeting, but thought I'd bring it up. I don't know where we left it.
We left it and then we got snowed in and then a lot of stuff has happened from that time, unfortunately, and knocked Eric's project off the front page. So we have to bring it back up again. And I guess have engineers or whatever go out and see what the dredging possibilities are, what we can do to make that, an easement that we have, I guess. And then, how much it's going to cost. Start getting numbers. So this is a small man-made pond, Tom, between Brookside and Redmond Avenue and Oakhurst. And it really was built in the 30s, 40s as a drainage pond for the homes that were built there. It was really the capture, it was not even a detention, it was a retention pond. That's why there's water there now. At one time, they used to stock it back in the 60s and 70s because it was a little clean and a little deeper. But since that time, naturally, it's sludge and the dead decaying leaves. It's filled it in. You can walk in there and it's about 2 feet deep and then you'll sink another 3 feet with that stuff. So it needs a good cleaning. You can put an aerator in there. I don't know. A little fountain.
What's the name of the pond again?
Snell's,
SNELL.
SNELLS.
What's that?
Nelf?
SNELLS.
SNELLS.
Okay.
Like Matt Snell,
Okay.
old Jet fans.
And I'm sorry, I lied. I got one more, Chris. So if he's not already on, Scott Sharp is going to be joining regarding the master plan.
I got his email. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Did he copy everybody? Okay. It just looked like it was an individual one.
Some
So-
people do that. They send it to us individually, but we
Yeah.
usually get it.
So I just would say his earlier, you saw the questions. So I don't know exactly where Ron is. Tom, I don't know if you know where we're at on the master plan at this point, but I know Scott's going to ask some questions. One of the things he sent earlier, like today, was just that because Jim Higgins is on, that we're moving forward with the master plan. I don't think there was any question that we were moving forward with the master plan. But I think he assumes that because we're hiring a engineer that we have the process in place. I don't know. I think they're mutually exclusive, but Tom, I don't know if you want to just give us a quick update, if there is any update.
But we have it on the agenda tonight to appoint our planner to start the master plan.
Right.
And then
Oh, go ahead.
council has to come up with a committee that's going to be on the master plan and, with the planning board. So, and then we get started. It's not, a hard thing to do. Now this gentleman, what does he want to know?
Well, here's what he objects to us using Jim Higgins without going out to bid. He doesn't like professional services appointments. That's number one. Number two, of course, he thinks there's going to be a big subcommittee because we kind of alluded to that last year before. Yeah, maybe we'll put together a citizens committee. Unfortunately, from now, once Marty looked up the statute and how it works, it doesn't work that. There won't be anybody from the public. There'll be public hearings and we can take suggestions. We're going to set up something, I believe, what Ron and had talked about, set up a page where they can submit suggestions, things that they'd like to see incorporated into it. But the master plan is going to be probably myself and maybe Dave as the liaison of the planning board. That's the two council members. We'll get Ed DeFilia from the Environmental Commission and whatever two members of the planning board, and then whatever professionals are involved.
So just to jump in quickly, the planning board voted myself and Ed DeFilia as part of this ad hoc committee already.
There you go. So that's that part.
Yeah, and if I may, I've done a few of these, and the more committees you have, the more cumbersome it becomes, the more expensive it becomes, and you never meet the timelines, and it
Right.
could take you, over 2 years to do this. And
Well, I think we had a layout. Somebody had sent me something that outlined of it was Ron. I think it was Ron Kirk. I don't know if Ron's on, but he had it laid out as to an agenda for this. We'll have this many meetings. We'll have 2 public hearings. The subcommittee will meet a few times, just as what ideas we want, us from council, you guys will tell me all the various things, that input you're getting from the public. And so I'll go in, from that angle, plus my rudimentary knowledge of the town and what I think the direction we want to keep moving this, as far as the highway, the master plan, if we're doing rehabilitation, or
redevelopment.
Things like that. So, but I think Mr. Sharp's going to be upset that there's not a 12-man committee that meets 40 times before we even get ready to launch something. That's what you're going to hear tonight.
Yeah, that's certainly his prerogative. But Chris, if you could share what Ron shared with us, because I think the biggest thing in addition to that, I think he's looking for process. So that, I'm not saying I'm going to share that with Scott yet. But,
hopefully I can find the email by then and I can I'll send it to you.
Perfect, right? Because I think I think the big, I could be wrong, and I'm sure he's going to join the meeting tonight. But I think process is also key. And if Ron's outlined something, like that might satisfy him. Good.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, he wants to see how it's going to happen, what input we're going to take from the public, which we should.
Yep.
We're going to have public hearings. He said we'll have 2. The public can join in. And that'll be their opportunity to make their recommendations, suggestions from the floor, and also by email. There'll be in a suggestion box online that they can go to.
Over the course of the committee's work, they can make presentations to the council. After a couple of months, they reviewed and make a presentation to council, which will be a public presentation. Maybe do 1 or 2 of those before it's then finalized before a planning board on a vote to accept it.
Marty, I'm sorry, Chris, you said it, that Marty looked up the ordinance and it said we couldn't do, what couldn't we do?
Well, I think it's flexible, not that we couldn't, but typically, go ahead, Marty, what was it? It was
It's not a question of what you could or couldn't do. Typically, it's the planning board, it's their arm, but they make presentations to the council. One of the things I looked into was how Long Branch did it. And much like what was said, I mean, I don't know if it was the last one or the one before, they did it over 1.5 years. It was like a whole long process. But they didn't have members of the public. They did have members of in their case, they took members of the planning board and members of the Board of Adjustment that were on the committee. And then they presented a couple of times, 2, 3, 4 times, to both the council and to the planning board, so that members of the public who were interested could be there to hear, what the status was. They took written comments from members of the public if they had something to say, or if at a public hearing, they said, what about this, what about that? They listened, and in fact, in instances, they adopted some of the things that were suggested by the members of the public. But they didn't have necessarily members of the public on the committee itself.
And just for the record, so that's an option that Long Branch opted not to do, or we can't do it? I just want to understand.
I'm not sure. I don't think there's anything that you necessarily can't do.
Got it.
I think the issue is which is the way to do it to get it done efficiently. And probably the way to do that is to have our planning board members, the council members, which, Dave and Chris are both council members, but also in theory members of, Dave is the council member and Chris is the mayor. So he has a seat on the planning board whenever he wants it. And then I think the head of the environmental commission obviously is someone that would probably be a good addition, and one or two other members, or a member from the Board of Adjustment, whatever. But you can't, I don't think you can have a committee of, 10 people, 12 people, 9 people. It becomes too cumbersome.
Yeah, having said that, I mean, let's call it what it is. The optics of having a single non-appointed, non-elected resident on a committee couldn't hurt. That's fine.
Yeah, I have no problem having a person from the public at large. Who's that going to be?
Right. That's right. I think I know what Scott would say.
I don't think he would want it. That's
Oh, no?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think he's going to think it's an unfair process. Here's the thing. We're a township, not a small borough, or, you know what I mean, or a village where you have the luxury of sitting around and shooting the breeze in a meeting room and having the public involved like that. In a large township, it gets cumbersome, as Tom Henshaw had mentioned it. These things, there's no end to it. It's a snake chasing its tail.
Yeah, no,
So-
agreed.
You
We don't.
could say, Rob, well, maybe we should have somebody from Wayside, somebody from.
No,
West-
I got it. That's why I didn't say it. I hear where it could go. I'm with you, Marty. 100%. And I don't want it overwielding.
So we open it up that their input can be by, electronically, or come to the meetings. There'll be 2 public meetings. Before we do anything, and make your suggestions there. It's not perfect, but it's the most reasonable, I think, way to go in a town this size. And at some point, they have to trust their elected officials. I mean, these are some of the duties we were elected to do. Not everybody's going to trust everybody all the time, and I get that. You just have to, do the best you can and try to convey to them that you are working for them.
Right.
And, we're trying.
All right, I'm done, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else from the public? That was one of the things I was going to bring up, was the master plan. So we got that out of the way. Margie or Dave or Johnny? No? Okay. Good. Then we can go into closed. Anybody from the public out there, by the way? I don't see anybody on. Is there anybody on?
There's somebody on. I don't know. It's 2017 HP. I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
7 HP is on.
Mm-hmm.
2017 HP.
Ooh. I don't know who that is.
All right. So
All right. We're going to exclude.
Chris, you don't have the resolution, do you?
Nope.
All right. I'll read it. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting for certain circumstances. And whereas this public body is of the opinion such circumstances presently exist, the public should be excluded from discussion of and action upon the specified subject. The general nature is C1 litigation, various matters. We need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Councilmembers Achara,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Mayor Siciliano.
Yes.
Right.
We're in closed. Have you cleared the room, Ben?
Hold on. Okay. Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Here.
Councilmembers Achara,
Here.
Donlin,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Here, everybody please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance behind Rob's head. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America.
and to the republic
For which
for which it stands, one
A
nation,
nation under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty
and
and justice
justice
for
for
all.
all. Moment of silent prayer. Okay. Be seated. The notice requirement for the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting has been satisfied. A copy of the annual notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press Coaster, posted in Town Hall, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk on December 30, 2020. We're going to forego the fire exits, and the other thing I'll say is when you're not speaking while the meeting's going on, just mute yourself. Of course, we pick up that ambient noise and it's distracting, and you'll have a chance to speak both during resolutions and then at the end of the meeting, the conclusion of the meeting, you'll have an opportunity at the same time. Before we get into the details of the meeting, I'm going to go around, as we've been doing, alphabetical order for our Zoom meetings. If any of the council members have anything. Rob, do you have anything for us?
I do not, Mayor.
Okay. Marge?
Not tonight.
Dave?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a quick report on the planning board's meeting on Monday. So I just wanted to, because there was a little confusion about what we had done, but the planning board approved a 92,000 square foot Amazon fulfillment project that's going to be in the Sears building. So yes, the at-home building, the at-home store will be downstairs on the first level. Amazon is going to be on the second level, taking over that whole area. There are going to be two Amazon facilities, one in Tinton Falls and one in Ocean. There was a lot of confusion about that. This is considered what they call a last mile facility, meaning the packages will arrive there. They're not going to stay there long. They're going to be put on vans and then shipped out to the entire shore area as we have right here. So it's a great opportunity for the town. There's jobs that are going to be coming. There's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 150 jobs. The good news is the traffic will be, the trucks are probably going to come in at night. The vans will be leaving during the morning. The public also has the ability to pull in and get their packages. So come holiday time, Christmas time, if that's something you're looking to do, there will be access. They're going to be doing all kinds of improvements to the area. They're going to be doing all new landscaping, fixing the asphalt, restriping. So it's a real plus for the town because that building really essentially was just not getting any use. So that's what I wanted to say. I know that I read the internet. There was lots of confusion about, what's going on here. It will be a 24-hour facility. So it's not going to be the type of facility where we're getting tractor trailers in and out all day long. That may be going on in Tinton Falls, but Ocean's going to be so I don't think the traffic is going to be the disaster that, the internet made it out to be. So once again, I think it's a great idea. Stay tuned. Obviously, this is just a preliminary. Things will get tightened up as we go along. And I just want to say happy Purim to who's ever celebrating Purim, and that's it. Thank you.
Good. Thanks, Dave. John?
Just real quick, I have two golf fundraisers coming up. One for the Mylan Terry Foundation, which will be held on June 7th at Jumping Brook Country Club. Information can be found at the MylanTerryFoundation.org. And July 19th, the Ocean Township High School Spartan Football Club is also having a golf tournament. That information you can get right at the Ocean Township High School website. I'm sure the information is on there. I received some of that this week. So if you're interested in playing golf, these are two great charity. One's a great charity. The other one's for the kids that play football in Ocean Township. Thank you, Mayor.
Great. Good stuff. I'm going to get in both of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to give a final shout out to our shovel brigade. We got past the last storm. We had a lot of people show up. You've seen it on the social media. Thank all them over and over again. It really did a great job. Now we're turning our focus to vaccine brigade. And so we're calling on folks to help our seniors, adopt a senior. Let's help them get appointments here and get on the schedule to get vaccines. We have quite a few signed up. So after the weekend, I'll compile the list and I'll contact all those who have volunteered and give you a little assignment to work on. And I will get this thing rolling. In the meantime, we're working aggressively with Senator Gopal to have a vaccine site here in Ocean, probably one of our senior facilities. So I'm submitting more and more paperwork each day, trying to get this rolling as quickly as possible. All right, so we're going to work on that as well. I do want to say thank you also to all the council members and Dave, you guys, for keeping this top secret Amazon thing under your lid for now until it had a chance to go through its gestation period. Because, when you're negotiating something like that with the owner and Amazon, they wanted to keep it secret until they had all their ducks in a row, because anything can go wrong at any time at one of these big facilities that are looking to land a lease here. So it worked out just right. We worked with them. Actually, this was 8 months in the workings and finally came to fruition. And as Dave mentioned, most of that traffic's 85, 90% is coming off of the main arteries there. That's why it's such an attractive site for them. It's 18, you have 35, you have 66, you have the Garden State Parkway, on and on and on. So win-win, great use of the building, got the 106,000 square feet home store downstairs. And upstairs, you're gonna have this facility, and it's really starting to pop over there. So without any further ado, let me go on. The purpose of the public meeting, hang on a second. Portions to solely ask questions, understand resolutions that appear on an agenda, not an occasion for public hearing on an ordinance. All questions not related to an item on the agenda should be asked during the public comments portion at the conclusion of the meeting. Does anybody from the public have any questions as to the consent agenda or resolutions that appear, not the ordinances, anything like that, just the resolutions or consent agenda? If you have anything, state your name and address for the record. Remember, you have a total aggregate time of 5 minutes to speak. Seeing or hearing no one, someone please offer the consent agenda in the minutes of February 11th, 2021.
I'll offer.
Second,
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani. Council members Achara,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
yes, resolutions, we have 21035 through 2140 for the consent. Somebody please offer.
I'll offer.
Second,
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
yes, tonight we have vouchers in the amount of $13,072,715.19. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second,
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
yes, and for individual action, we have 21041, authorize the purchase and installation of a fitness equipment at Joe Palea Park from MRC, state contract number ESCNJ 20-21-06 at a cost not to exceed $37,657.21. This is great. We're going to add some more fitness stations there, and this is one of the agenda items for Mike Butruco. He's hitting the ground running already, our new recreation director. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second,
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
yes, and 20042, authorize the purchase of rubber mulch and curbing for Joe Palea Park from Rubber Recycling State Contract ECNJ 20-21 at a cost not to exceed $18,486.65. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second,
Second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
yes, 21043, authorized professional service contract with James Higgins Associate to assist in the reexamination of the township master plan at a cost not to exceed $45,000. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second,
Second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara,
I'm going to vote yes, but I just want to make a point that my last week's comments about not going out to bid for professional services contracts, since we haven't passed that resolution or ordinance yet, even if we had, I do believe Jim is probably the right person for this, given his history with the town. And since it's not to exceed 45,000, hopefully we can get it done for less. So yes.
Council members Donlin,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
yes, 21044, authorize the tax collector to issue refunds for the following taxpayers due to overpayments. Block 3403, Lot 9, qualifier C703, Block 37, Lot 59, and Block 35, various Lot 7. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second,
Second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, 21-045, authorize the increase in the contract awarded to Baradusco General Contracting for snow removal services due to an emergency increase in the contract by $37,175. We kept them a little longer this time during that last storm actually than we usually do. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
second,
Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Council Members Achara,
yes,
Donlin,
yes,
Fisher,
yes,
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, 2146, authorized professional service contract with USI Consulting Group to perform actuarial services in order to comply with GAF 75 at a cost not to exceed $7,900. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second.
second,
Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Council Members Achara,
yes,
Donlin,
yes,
Fisher,
yes,
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes. For introduction tonight, we have two ordinances. Ordinance number 2352. Ben, would you read the title, please?
An ordinance amending ordinance 2338 entitled an ordinance fixing salaries and compensation of certain offices, positions, and employees for the Township of Ocean.
Great. Just for introduction only, someone please offer to introduce ordinance 2352.
I'll introduce ordinance 2352.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Council Members Achara,
Yes,
Donlin,
yes,
Fisher,
Yes,
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, I have a public hearing March
11th.
11th. Thanks, Ben. 3/11. Also for introduction 2353. Ben, would you read the title, please?
An ordinance authorizing the private sale of non-conforming real property known as Block 33.05, Lot 3.
Great. Someone please introduce ordinance 2353.
I'll introduce ordinance 2353.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Council Members Achara,
Yes,
Donlin,
yes,
Fisher,
Yes,
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, and that also will have its public hearing on March 11th. At this time, we invite the public, if they have anything germane to Ocean Township business, now would be the time to log in, state your name and address for the record. Be mindful that you do have 5 minutes only, and say your piece.
Hi, Jackie Wenzel, 610 Deal Road.
Seeing or hearing no one, someone make the motion. What?
You not
Oh, is this on?
Jackie, you just muted yourself.
mute, but then he didn't hear me, so I was just seeing what.
You got to speak up.
You can't hear me?
Yes, now I can.
You
Yep.
can? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was just calling, to ask, I haven't been to a planning board meeting since the, Deal 35 project. And is it true that the public isn't allowed to speak anymore at the planning board meetings? Did I hear that, or is that?
You
an-
must, that's not true.
not true.
So there's still an opportunity when something's presented to ask about the project.
There's always public comments portion.
There is, okay. That was misinformation. Then has there been any more development on the Hillel School and Copper Gables? Do you
I
have
don't think
any-
they've had a second meeting yet.
So they haven't, so there's no more further development? Not you. Question, it's been told to me that we're gonna actually lose tax revenue if they transfer or if they knock Copper Gables down, that we actually receive tax from that as a business. Is that true?
Oh, it's taxed as a building, land and building right now.
So is there something that will compensate for that, or will our taxes go up?
No, I mean, it's not, I mean, we always have revenue to offset tax losses. I mean, we can absorb something like that. It's not like it's $1 million tax revenue. The township portion of that's probably 5,113 cents a year. That's the township portion.
Okay. And families, local residents that use the private school and have to pay for private school, are they then relieved of paying the school taxes for Ocean Township?
Nope.
No, so, okay. What kind of fitness equipment are you putting in the park?
This is at, the stations that you see at the park where you can do chin-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, things like that.
Yeah.
That kind of, you can work the little circuit there and get in shape.
Oh,
and
they're
everything.
nice. A lot of them have fallen apart, it seems
Yeah,
like.
yeah. So it's an initiative of Mike Petrucco. We got a young recreation director who's got a lot of good ideas. In the next couple of years, you'll see the town really pop.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to that. And how about the corner? Are there any updates in terms of DOT approvals yet?
I think they received, I got an email that they received final DEP, and I'm not sure about DOT. I'll have to review my email, but we were pretty far along there.
Okay. I've actually been out of town this week, but there were some complaints coming to me about the bus stop not being, it kind of got knocked down. I don't know if it was repaired this week, but
Not yet.
Ron Kirk had told me it wasn't the town's responsibility, that it was the bus company. But when I called the bus company, they said that wasn't true, that it was the town's responsibility, because it was hard to get to the bus stop during that one snowstorm. It was hard to walk there. And then the bus, the shelter there seems to have collapsed. So they were saying
did.
that was also our responsibility.
Yeah, not that I know, but Tom Henschel is going to call tomorrow and straighten it out.
That,
I'll take
that
care
they'll
of it.
do it or will do it.
Tom's going to call them and straighten this out. If it's our responsibility to get done, if it's theirs, it'll get done.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Is this New Jersey Transit?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just to answer the previous question, they did receive DOT approval.
DOT.
And, yeah, so that's done.
Okay.
But I think they're waiting for signed agreements.
And one more thing, the location of the bus,
Northbound 35 in Deal Road.
okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, anybody else?
That's it.
Hi, this is Jim Bay.
Yes, Jim.
What was the nature of the Wickapeco deconstruction that was referenced on 1005 Wickapeco demolition?
The red house that was on that property there, that was the original home to the folks that lived on the golf course, that little red structure.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
And Vinny, this morning, I wanted to thank you for those notes you gave me this morning. You took the time, and I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you, Vinny.
No problem, Jim. Thanks.
Okay, I'm muting, and thank you very much.
Great. Anybody else? No?
Before,
Okay.
oh, go ahead, Jack.
I just wanted to, I live on a very busy street, Big Corp, with the fire engines and first aid and so forth, and the town itself. And I'll tell you, they've been doing a marvelous job. They really, really have. And I hope, Tom Henshaw, that you take that word along to it, because they've just been outstanding with this weather that we've had and so forth. They really deserve a big pat on the back. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I will forward the message. Thank you.
Good to hear. Anybody else?
Okay,
Well,
There you go.
good.
yep, speak up, name and address for the record.
It's Sylvia Chaffee, 200 Lincoln Drive. You guys have a lot of great things in your report tonight. Some good work. I like the 5-minute guidelines. I'll just go over my things and then I'll mute myself if you want to reply afterwards. So first, I was wondering if we have any follow-up on the Coca-Cola plant. If they're, I don't think they've had a meeting yet on that, but if you guys have any other information about what's going on, if we've gotten representatives that's going to go there. My second question was about I watched your January 28th workshop meeting, and I know that you guys had met with, I don't remember the name of the group, but the deputy mayor mentioned something about bringing a revision to the dispensary ordinance in February. So I didn't know if that was happening yet. And the last thing was also from that meeting, you guys had a lot of discussion about a windshield that had gotten hit with a golf ball. And I think you said something to the effect of there wouldn't be any way to be hit unless it was on 35 or Rickapeco, unless it was somebody in the golf course, in the driveway, and et cetera, and that you're not really responsible. But you were, and you also thought that it was too expensive for the repair, but this was something that happened back in September that was brought up at your last meeting in January. But in reality, and I don't know if it was because the car was in Damien's name or because the bill was my receipt, but in actuality, it was my teenage daughter who was driving on Wickapeco, and the golf ball came out and smashed her windshield. And thankfully, she's got the reflex and the wherewithal to not have crashed into the oncoming traffic. And I understand that things happen, and this just happened. And you might have heard from Mr. Pagano was there, and your golf, the guy that works at the staff there, they saw the ball near the car. Apparently it happens periodically, and evidently Damien spoke with the director for your recreation director, who said that you guys had actually already been discussing putting a net up prior to my daughter getting her windshield smashed. So it kind of is, if you know something in advance, it does become your responsibility. She should not, nobody should have to expect to get hit with the ball. If you are on the course, then maybe you have a little bit more onus on yourself to be careful or cautious or know that you could get hit with the ball. But people driving down the road, and this has happened before, it didn't warrant as much discussion, and the number of jabs it sounded like were coming towards the responsibility on the person who got hit. And again, I think it's probably because you didn't realize it was just a kid driving on Wickapeco. And I guess if it's happened a number of times, we're all just really lucky that nobody's gotten seriously injured. And I didn't shop the prices. We brought her car right back here, and I had Safe Flight come back here and fix it. So I'm not going to thank you for passing the reimbursement for it, but you should know that it was not the fault of the person who got hit. And that's really all I have. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, I'll answer each one for you. Coca-Cola, I reached out to the governing body. They're going to keep me apprised of when they start construction and send some plans over. So we'll have some, at least, knowledge on that. And somebody from your neighborhood contacted me also about that. I can share plans with her. The dispensary, that was just we were being funny. There was no plans to bring a dispensary. We were teasing. It got somebody upset, so we went with it a little more. It's what we do. I don't know why. The golf ball thing, there is a net up on the 9th hole. So maybe Mike's going to put another net up. I don't know. And yeah, no, I said you could get hit if you're on Wickapeco or on 35. And I don't think we talked about it more than a minute before we said, I told the manager here, it's something we're probably going to have to pay. Well, I wasn't blaming anybody. It happens. Nobody's blamed for driving a car getting hit with a golf ball. I've ducked a few of them on by Deal Golf Course myself, many a time on Monmouth Road. So it wasn't going to be anybody's fault. So that happens. We agreed to pay it. There wasn't really a lot of discussion on that either. Yeah, that was that.
Well, you might want to review that meeting, because there was an awful lot of, and you even mentioned that you did research beforehand. There was a lot of discussion, and there was a lot of blame for the person who got hit. And I'm guessing you didn't realize that it was my daughter. You might have just thought it was me, and I guess that would be expected.
No, nothing to do with that.
Or Damien, whatever.
Yeah, all good, right?
Awesome.
Good. Anybody else? No? Seeing and hearing no one, so I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
I'll second.
Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Council Members Achara,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, meeting adjourned. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you at the next meeting. Take care, everybody.
Take it easy.